In an era scarred by growing inequality, relentless conflict, and a rising tide of apathy, one voice has cut through the noise with rare moral clarity and boundless compassion.
Georgium Marium, Sancte Romani Ecclesiae Cardinalem Bergoglio, qui sibi nomen imposuit Franciscum.
Born in the vibrant working-class heart of Buenos Aires, his accent from the crowded streets of Argentina to the spiritual helm of the Catholic Church is not a tale of ambition, but a testament to humility, conviction, and radical service. In a world obsessed with wealth, status, and control, he offers a divine counter-narrative. The world tells us to seek success, power, and money, but God tells us to seek humility, service, and love. These are not just words. They are the compass by which he has led, challenging power structures and reawakening the global conscience. As the first pope from the Americas, first Jesuit to wear the papal vestments, and the first to choose the humble name of Francis after the saint who embraced poverty, he has redefined the modern papacy. Where others sought grandeur, he chose simplicity. Where tradition demanded distance, he offered embrace. Where institutional caution prevailed, he brought bold, moral clarity. Pope Francis's life reads not as a calculated ascent to power, but as a profound pilgrimage of the heart. His early years in Argentina shaped a worldview both practical and profound. Working briefly as a nightclub bouncer, studying chemistry, and riding public transport as a cardinal, these experiences forged in him an understanding of ordinary struggles and everyday dignity. Despite having only one functioning lung from a teenage illness, his energy proved boundless. Upon his election in 2013, the world witnessed unprecedented gestures, declining the papal apartments for a modest guest house room, carrying his own luggage, personally telephoning those who wrote to him in distress. He washed the feet of prisoners and refugees, including Muslims and women, breaking centuries of traditions. His love of tango and football revealed a pope fully human, comfortable in his humanity and inviting others to embrace theirs. His humor, warmth, and spontaneity shattered the image of papal remoteness. In him, the faithful found not an untouchable icon, but a fellow pilgrim, one who reminded them constantly that true power lies not in domination, but in compassion. Pope Francis's papacy transcended traditional religious boundaries to address the urgent moral questions of our time. He spoke about elevating environmental protection from a political issue to a profound moral imperative. His consistent advocacy for refugees arrived when the world needed it the most, with over 110 million people forcibly displaced worldwide. From the shores of Lampedusa to the refugee camps of Lesbos, he stood with those fleeing violence and poverty, challenging nations to respond with compassion rather than walls. A person who thinks about only building walls and not building bridges, he warned, is not Christian. So what was his response to growing economic inequality? In economics, producing unprecedented wealth alongside stubborn poverty, his words cut through ideological divides. Just as the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," sets a clear limit to safeguard human life, today we also have to say, "Thou shalt not" to an economy of exclusion and inequality. Such an economy kills. Perhaps nor was Pope Francis' impact more profound than in his determined bridge building across religious divides. His unprecedented meeting with Grand Imam Ahmad al-Tayyab produced a document on human fraternity, declaring that faith leads to a believer to see in the other a brother or sister to be supported and loved. His historic visit to Iraq brought him to Ur, the birthplace of Abraham, father to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. With Orthodox leaders, he broke through centuries of division to emphasize unity over historic grievances. With Jewish communities, he strengthened bonds of mutual respect and shared heritage. With Hindu, Buddhist, and Sikh leaders, he sought common cause in promoting peace, environmental care, and human dignity. This interfaith diplomacy wasn't merely symbolic. It produced tangible peace initiatives, joint humanitarian efforts, and a counter-narrative to those who would use religion to divide rather than to unite humanity. The thing that made Pope Francis' leadership so compelling was the authenticity that showed through official roles and titles. Few religious leaders have been so comfortable in their own humanity. His past as a nightclub bouncer, his teenage romance before choosing religious life, his enjoyment of a good football match, his medical reality of functioning with just one lung since adolescence. He spoke multiple languages but preferred the direct language of human experience over theological abstraction. As the first pope from the Southern Hemisphere, he brought perspectives shaped by Latin American realities rather than European traditions. When he modified Holy Thursday rituals to wash the feet of Muslim women, breaking centuries of practice, he demonstrated that compassion must sometimes transcend convention. So what small gestures revealed his leadership philosophy? His spontaneous telephone calls to people in crisis, from a rape survivor in Argentina to a divorced Italian woman, revealed a leader who understood that true authority comes not from distance but from presence. His refusal of luxury, his embrace of simplicity, and his constant attention to the marginalized weren't political calculations but expressions of authentic conviction. The impact of Pope Francis extends far beyond institutional boundaries. For a church sometimes perceived as resistance to change, he modeled adaptations without abandoning core principles. His famous response to a question about gay individuals, "Who am I to judge?" signaled not doctrinal revolution but a shift in emphasis from condemnation to accompaniment. So what institutional reforms did he champion? His reforms of Vatican finances brought transparency to institutions long shrouded in secrecy. His changes to the College of Cardinals diversified church leadership, ensuring voices from the global south would shape its future. His willingness to acknowledge institutional failures in addressing abuse marked a crucial step towards healing. Beyond the church, his consistent advocacy placed moral questions at the center of global challenges. Climate change became not merely an environmental issue, but a question of intergenerational justice. Economic inequality became not just a matter of policy, but of human dignity. Migration became not a border security challenge, but a test of a common humanity. Pope Francis reminded a fractured world that true faith must translate into tangible action, that leadership without service is hollow, that words without witness are empty, that love without sacrifice is meaningless. So how will history remember his impact? In his gentle smile and his fearless voice, in his simple gestures and his profound writings, the world found not just a religious leader, but a global conscience for turbulent times. As he often urged, we must restore hope to young people, help the old, be open to the future, spread love. This remains his enduring message that in a world of complex problems, our response must begin with simple compassion. That in an age of sophisticated technology, we must not lose the wisdom of the heart. That amidst the cacophony of conflict, we must listen for the quiet voices of the forgotten.
Sede vacante. The throne of the Holy See is vacant.
So what happens when the papal office becomes vacant, either due to the death or resignation of a pope? In this case, the church enters a period known as sede vacante, meaning the seat is vacant. During this time, the administrative affairs of the Vatican are overseen by a senior cardinal known as Camerlengo. The responsibility of choosing the new pope lies in the College of Cardinals, a group of senior church officials from around the globe. However, only cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to vote. These cardinals gather in Rome to carry out the sacred duty of electing the next spiritual leader. The election takes place during a special meeting called the conclave, held within the Sistine Chapel. The word conclave means with a key, reflecting the tradition of locking the cardinals in until a decision is made. No phones, no outside communication, only prayer, discussion, and discernment guide the process. Voting is done through secret ballots, and up to 4 rounds can take place each day. To be elected pope, a cardinal must receive a 2/3 majority of the votes. After each round, the ballots are burned. If no decision is reached, black smoke rises from the chapel's chimney. But when a new pope has been chosen and accepts, white smoke signals the joyful news to the world. Once the chosen cardinal accepts the role, he selects a new name, a tradition that reflects the kind of leadership he hopes to embody. Soon after, the people gathered in St. Peter's Square hear the long-awaited words, Habemus Papam, meaning we have a pope. The new leader then steps onto the balcony and offers his first blessing as the Bishop of Rome. As we honor his legacy, let us hear again his persistent call to build bridges rather than walls, to heal rather than harm, to include rather than exclude, to protect a common home, and to recognize in every face, especially those society overlooks, the reflection of a shared humanity. And in a world that often chooses fear, Pope Francis chose love. In times that reward power, he chose service. In a culture that celebrates success, he celebrated sacrifice. And in doing so, he showed us not just how we believe, but how we become fully human.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua. Il maestro delle cerimonie di leggere il messaggio. Benedicator omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.